the dyslexic cannot do, and a non-dyslexic can, is to establish focus when you read and maintain that focus. When the Davis program is finished, that is no longer a problem. They can establish focus like anybody, and they can maintain that focus as they read. And as far as we're concerned, that solves the dyslexia. That solves all the dyslexia problems. There is something that we call a young learners program. The correction program is for 8 years and older. And then we've developed what we call a young learners program where we're actually teaching reading using Davis. And DLS, that's called Davis Learning Strategies. That's where we have a 2-day training workshop where we train a teacher to apply this in a mainstream classroom, either alongside phonics or instead of phonics. And that benefits all learners. And I'll show you statistics and testimonials later on. Now, maths and ADHD require a further 20 hours one-to-one. In fact, ADHD and ADD tends to require a little bit more than that. And it takes a little time to integrate that into behavior, into change of behavior. And this is what I'm talking about. When we read, normal people, we can't read unless we focus on what's on the page. We have to establish focus. And then, if we're not dyslexic, we effortlessly maintain that focus as we read. Now, you all may have had a dyslexic experience. It would have happened when your threshold for confusion is very low, maybe very tired at night, reading in bed. And you come to the bottom of a page and you suddenly realize you stopped reading somewhere. And your eyes kept scanning the page, and you don't realize when you come to the bottom, you haven't taken in half the page. Is there anyone that hasn't experienced that? No? Okay. So this is what the dyslexic experiences all the time. If you're not dyslexic and experience this, you just have a very simple solution. You know you're too tired, you close the book, have a good night's sleep, and the next day the problem's gone. The dyslexic has that problem all the time, whenever they read. And it's because there are things on the page that break their focus. So the short version of this lecture is the next paragraph. The Davis approach essentially does two things. We teach them how to focus and teach them how to notice when they lose their focus. That's kind of step number one. And number two, we identify and eliminate things that break their focus. So establishing focus is one thing, maintaining it is another. We deal with both aspects. There are 3 tools that we use, mental tools. I've shown you one of them, which is release. Then there is focus, which is the key. If there is a magic ingredient in Davis, it would be the focusing. Ron calls it in the book either orientation or alignment. And orientation is a medical term, and the opposite of orientation is disorientation. And that is also a medical term. When you're in shock, you're disorientated. If your body has trauma, you're disorientated. You can induce disorientation through chemicals. What do you think is the most common chemical to induce disorientation? Alcohol. That's exactly right. And the interesting thing about that is that people spend huge amounts of money on alcohol. There are huge industries built around providing disorientation for people, legal and illegal. Even theme parks are designed to provide disorientation. You spin around and you go up and down and you get dizzy, and if you get too disorientated, whether that's because you drank too much or spun around too much, you tend to throw up. And there are dyslexics that do that when they look at a page. I was assessing a girl today, and she says she's feeling nauseous all the time. When she's driving, motion sickness, which is also disorientation. It's a symptom of disorientation. So it's something that we can all experience. It's a natural phenomenon. But those who develop dyslexia and all the other developmental learning difficulties we deal with, they use disorientation as a tool. And we'll come to that in a minute. They use it obviously as a tool for recreation and entertainment, like the ones who drink and go to a theme park and smoke some illegal substances and so on. Even going to a cinema is a form of disorientation, and I'll come to that in a minute. Dial is the third tool, and that's for controlling energy, particularly important for ADD, hyperactive kids. And we all do this, we all use this. If you are a sports person, you will know focus. If you go to a professional sports coach, they will have taught you some form of focus. They will have taught you some kind of routine. Tennis players, I was speaking to a professional tennis player the other day, telling him about this. I speak to everybody about this. I have a very, very limited, I'm a one-trick pony in that respect. I was saying, well, there's this thing that tennis players, I see it on TV, they do all the time. They have a little routine before they serve. Put ball in the pocket, but the last thing they do before they serve, they look across the field in the net, hold the ball in one hand, the racket in the other, and they will stand on one leg. Always. They're using balance to fine-tune their focus. And they will only serve when they can feel good balance. Same with darts. You know, you can see that they are leaning obviously closer to the dartboard. That's the obvious bit. But the less obvious bit is that they are in precarious balance, and they will only throw when they can feel good balance. If any of you play darts, or you can take any sport, you can see before a penalty shoot in soccer, just before they run, they will not stand like this. They will be like this on one leg, and they are focusing. Basketball players. And the one sport I was confused about was golf, because they stand like this. Okay? But then I had a 10-year-old boy who plays on national level golf with a professional coach, Dyslexic. And he was working with me, and I asked him, what is this with golf? And he said, I can't get it. And he said, well, my coach tells me that I have to stand in my toes. And so they're using forwards-backwards balance. That's what I know now. So that solved that puzzle for me. We actually use balancing for fine-tuning our focus after we've installed it. So we install it first, and then we fine-tune it with focus. Dial, you've all tried to go to sleep at night and calm yourself down. You've all tried to rev yourself up for a race or whatever it is. We are all more or less aware of our energy levels, and we manage them. And then we use different energy levels for different tasks. And these are kind of things that hyperactive kids don't really know. They only know kind of the top, 8, 9, and 10 out of 10.